What's up, kids? It's like week 8 of Corona Apocalypse lockdown. Getting kind of bored. Caught up on my guitar builds and stuff like that. Pretty much done every stupid thing I can do to my own guitars to alleviate boredom. And I thought maybe it might be fun to give an overview of my personal collection. The guitars I've had since, right after high school. Stuff like that. All the guitars I gigged with, all that kind of stuff that led to the creation of the J Hill Guitars line. So let's have some fun. Let's take a look. First up, we have what is left of my original 1984 Kramer Voyager. Actually, I think it's an 83, or it was an 83. Got it for my graduation present in May of 1984. But the serial number dates back to Neptune, New Jersey, circa 1983. It's been through a lot. I played a bunch of gigs with it when I was younger. It's been in a car wreck, which is why it doesn't have the original neck on it. It's got all new hardware. Currently, it's got a Seymour Duncan JB Pearly Gates combo and a new original Floyd Rose. The original Floyd Rose that came off of it is in the other room. But yeah, still going strong after all these years and completely refurbished. Little background about my first builds in the early 80s when I was a kid. There was no such thing as a production Strat with a humbucker. Everybody wanted to sound like Eddie Van Halen, including me. He was my number one inspiration, the reason why I started playing guitar. And I read that he had built his first guitars out of parts from a company named Charvel in San Dimas, California. Well, it turned out that because there was no internet or anything fun like that, you could mail order and get a catalog and a price list from them and order parts from them like he did and build guitars. So I had a summer job at a hot dog restaurant in Charleston called Bullwinkle's. Yay. And saved up some money and got 2 necks and the body before Charvel sold in, I think it was 1985, and the supply just completely dried up. And that was all you could get. So I was stuck with 2 necks and a body. So what did I do? The first neck and body that I got ended up being my longest held guitar. It's still pretty much original, though it's had 8 zillion pickups in it and gone through about a set of bridge saddles a decade. So I think it's on set number 3 now. God, I'm old. Anyway, this one ended up being named Beth of Death because of the Garbage Pail Kid sticker on it. It's painted with Krylon. But yeah, this was one of the 2 necks I got. It's a 1 3/4 inch nut width, wide, flat Charvel neck. And then big, clunky, heavy ash body that I had to have modified because this body was sourced by Charvel from DiMarzio. I found out through research I've done over the years because they couldn't keep up with demand or something. And anyway, DiMarzio was making bodies for them at first or at some point. It had a Telecaster cavity, so to get the volume knob where I wanted it, had to have it modified. So my first modification experience as a kid, somebody in town did it for me, and they also installed the Floyd Rose. I did this guitar with the help of, could not have done it without the help of a column in Guitar Player magazine by John Carruthers and the help of a local luthier in Charleston, West Virginia named Early Vermillion. They helped me get this together, and it's still in service today. Okay, in hindsight, realizing it's only had 4 pickups in it, which have been a Seymour Duncan distortion, an EMG 81 in the 90s, a Seymour Duncan ceramic custom, and now it sports a Seymour Duncan custom 8 with an Alnico 8 magnet, and it's also got a 42 millimeter FU tone brass big block in it. So I had Beth together for a while, and I was gigging for, a year or so with that and the Kramer, but I started to dislike the star body, it wasn't really as comfortable as a Strat to me. So I still had the other neck sitting around, but I couldn't find a body anywhere because there weren't a lot of aftermarket, you know, parts manufacturers around back then. At least that would get you exactly what you wanted. So fortunately or unfortunately, a friend volunteered to make one for me. It was an admirable effort. It didn't sound that great, but it did, you know, make it on the plane to California with me in 2000. So it ended up getting reimagined in 2010. I got a new body for it and sent it off to Jeff Rich of RCA Guitars to paint it, reimagine the original paint job that was put on the horrible body. But it's had 2 points in my life been prominent. More so now, it's the Bomber. And it is currently sporting a Seymour Duncan STKS7 neck pickup, a Jason Becker perpetual burn in the bridge, and the Floyd Rose is augmented with FU Tones stainless steel hardware and a titanium block. That sounds amazing. This guitar has seen a lot of use too. Sounds great. One of my favorites. It's ash body, obviously maple neck, but yeah. Sounds way better than the original maple body, which was horrible. Much prefer ash. And there you have that one. If you're wondering how cool the Jason Becker perpetual burn pickup sounds, first edition, check this out. Since the Bomber guitar got retired for a few years, and I didn't want to reuse the neck, I ended up discovering Warmoth guitar parts, and I got a one-piece Koa body, which turned out to be awesome, and one of their necks, and made what my buddy Adam from FU Tone dubbed Excalibur. Because I couldn't think of a name for it. We just called it K for Koa, which is kind of lame. But anyway, great sounding guitar. Koa is amazing. I got this one-piece body just before it was declared an endangered species. I think I built this guitar in 1997, I think. I'm not sure. 96 or 97. But anyway, you pretty much can't get a one-piece Koa body anymore. They're prohibitively expensive. But I wish you could because this thing sounds amazing. I still record with it to this day. It's got an STKS, checks to see if it's staggered or flat. Flat. So it's an STKS 6 and a JB in the bridge that's got a FU Tone PMS bridge mount or pickup mount like all my guitars have now. And its Floyd Rose is also augmented with a titanium big block. The only two titanium big blocks in my collection at the moment. Up next is the one that probably has the funniest story to it. My pretty much usually for gigs or clean sounds recording, my more traditional build, affectionately known as Purple. It is a one-piece ash body, another Warmoth maple and Palfero neck. It's got DiMarzio virtual vintage pickups in it. I'm struggling to remember the model numbers right now. Let's see, a heavy blues in the neck, a 54 bridge in the middle, and a solo in the bridge. And it's got the Eric Johnson tone mod whereby the tone control is disconnected from the middle pickup and used on the bridge pickup instead. Sounds really, really good. But the funny story about this is, this was a completely different guitar. I happened to walk by in a pawn shop because I was bored and had, you know, bored and had some cash burning a hole in my pocket in like 2004, and I got this guitar for $200. I ended up selling the neck, the tuners, the pickups, and the bridge off of it, all to friends. And at the end of the day, I had $40 in the one-piece ash body this thing became. So yeah, $40. Best $40 I ever spent. Here's the one that has the weird overlap with the Bomber's Resurrection around 2010. I got the idea, let's rebuild the Bomber. I really screwed that up, and I could actually have a do-over once on one thing in your life, right? Why wouldn't you? So I had discovered that I liked one-piece bodies better based on the Koa Excalibur and the purple Strat. I'm like, let's get another one-piece body. So I did. The only problem was it showed up looking like this. And I said, there is no way that I am putting a solid color over that piece of wood. That would be near blasphemy. It's like, look at it. You can't take your eyes off of it. Yeah, I was just, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. It was just too cool. So, quickly turned around and got another body. A two-piece ash one that became the second Bomber body, actually. Wish I got another one piece, but that's another story. Anyway, so I then decided, since this is a cool one-piece body, and it deserves a natural finish, and I can't find another, one-piece Koa body, let's make it the Koa guitar's evil twin. So Excalibur's evil twin. There you have it. So yeah, basically the same specs as Excalibur, with the exception of I tried a copper FU-tone big block this time. Not my favorite among the block types that I've tried. It's probably, I would have to say, titanium, brass, copper in order of preference. But not that it doesn't sound good, it just sounds kind of aggressive. This guitar sounds like it wants to kill people, but sometimes that's a good thing. And by exact same specs as Excalibur, I mean it has an STK-S6 and a JB pickup combo. So around 2015, I started jamming with Ryan O'Connor in what would become our band Scar Radio, which is still kind of kicking around today. Working on some new music, but I was playing my guitars around a lot in local rehearsal studios, and I was also doing some gigs around Hollywood for the Kids Rock charity, sitting in there. So a lot of people were playing my guitars, and they started saying, you should really start thinking about building these for other people. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. That would be fun. And why not? I've been building them since I was a kid. Why not share with the world? Why not, right? So set out to make a couple of cool prototypes. One of them was going to be basically to represent the general line, and I figured if I was going to do a couple, let's do a silly one for me that was kind of a joke that a friend of mine and I came up with from a long internet goofball session one night during the web forum days. Anyway, so I started prototyping. One of my oldest friends from first grade heard about the idea and decided he wanted one too. I decided to incorporate the D-tuner into the recessed route because I liked it, and worked that out with my fabricators. I started figuring out logos, went with that. Then the really kind of interesting thing was figuring out logo placement. I started to go with that, didn't like it, and ended up deciding on that being the general placement for the reverse or regular headstocks. So I had two prototypes ready to go. One was going to be a more solid color, for lack of a better word, generic version, and the other one was going to be my silly idea. Everything, of course, was going to have what had become my standard now, which were the FU-tone 37mm or 42. Brass blocks, stainless hardware, titanium inserts, the whole deal. Everything was, of course, going to get a PMS mount, and I went back and put all those in all of my guitars, of course. And by that time, I decided to go with matte black and a weird accent deal to go with the stainless hardware. And the None More Black was born, the original flagship of the J Hill Guitars line. That was supposed to be the prototype. It didn't end up selling, and it kind of became one of my babies too. The first one that actually got ordered was a two humbucker version, so I ended up keeping that one. And sorry, not sorry. Funny story, like the genesis of this guy back here actually way predates the J.O. Guitars line. I think it was probably like 2008 or 2009, maybe 2010, when I was moderating a Guitar Gear forum. A buddy of mine and I were talking about guitars and Mad Magazine for some strange reason. And I said, we were all both talking about how we both liked SH pickup configurations and how hard they were to find. And I said, yeah, I like a certain guitar, but it only has an either or pickup selector, and I would want to put a switch in it and stuff, and you'd have to drill a new control compartment, and it would just be cheaper to build one, so I would just do like a Mad Magazine version of it. If only I knew how to get Alfred instead of the traditional character that was on the guitar. And my buddy basically says the equivalent of "hold my beer," and boom, comes back with Alfred E. Newman, because he's very, very good with Photoshop, as it turns out. So we did that, and it turned out to be the Newman Kazi. Thanks to Jim McLean of Canada for the Photoshop job. As far as the other specs, it's a one-piece ash body, STK S6 JB set, Iron Age blue LED kill switch, and the usual 37mm FU tone, brass big block, stainless steel hardware, and titanium insert set. Another funny thing about the Newman Kazi, Mad Magazine totally got the joke, retweeted pictures of it. I think they really appreciated it. The guitar company that was, a parody, funny, actually more functional riff of, not so much. So unfortunately, the Newman Kazi can't be part of the J Hill Guitars line, but it's still my personal favorite guitar, or one of them. So I'm going to keep playing it everywhere, and I encourage them to cry about it. So as it stands right now, my main guitars are the None More Black, the Newman Kazi, the Bomber, and the Natural, aka Evil Twin. Oh yeah, I built a bass too, essentially because I got tired of asking my friends to borrow theirs to record Scar Radio material, and I'm pretty sure they got tired of me asking to borrow their basses. So it's got a Seymour Duncan PJ set, quarter pound set in it, and it's got an active tone circuit, and it's got a Godot bridge. It's pretty cool. So there you have it. There's all my personal guitar collection. I hope you enjoyed watching it and it alleviated some of your Corona Apocalypse lockdown boredom. I know making it did mine, so thank you very much for watching it. And of course, if you're interested in your very own J-Hale guitars, you can check out jhaleguitars.bigcartel.com. And follow me on social media, and please like and subscribe with notifications enabled. Thanks for watching, and take care. See you soon.